Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, joined today with Dan Quinones and Frank Tropiano. We're talking about the Mets tonight. When we ended our last episode, I think I said there's going to be possibly some breaking news. We'll hop on here if the Mets make a big splash, make a big move. Well, since then, the Mets lost Edwin Diaz to the Los Angeles Dodgers and Pete Alonso to the Baltimore Orioles. There's still a lot of offseason left. It's December 11th at the time of this recording. But right now, things don't look great. We're going to pass it to Frank first because I think Frank is very emotional and angry, while Dan and I are on the optimistic side. But Frank, the floor is yours. What are you thinking?
I've been talking to you guys over the last three-ish days, including today, and I've been angry. Like I've been upset, and I will be the first person to say, like, I disagree with this. If the idea was that the pitching was so crap and they still won 83 games, I don't know why they're tearing it all down like this. But that being said, I've tried to listen to people on both sides. You know what I mean? Like I've tried to listen to the angriest of angry and the most optimistic of optimistic. Again, I still Pete is the one that really kills me to my core because it's just like we don't have a guy in our franchise history. Like we'll say David Wright, and David Wright was amazing, but like he's not going in the Hall of Fame. His career got cut short. Like Pete could have been the guy, like end to end met crazy power numbers. It's just to me, it gets me really upset. But I don't know. I'll see what they do. I feel completely defeated. I don't trust Stearns and I don't trust Cohen at this point. Like I'm not gonna overreact. Like there are people that are just like, oh, Cohen just wanted the casino. I'm not going there yet. Give me a few years, maybe I'll get there. But I'm not gonna go there yet. Stearns never won anything. That's a fact. Like that's not there's nothing that's debatable there. You know what I mean? He's never built a World Series team. So I don't think that anyone saying that they don't trust him, we don't have a choice. Like we're gonna root for the team, and he's gonna do what he's gonna do. You know what I mean? I'm not happy with the moves, but like you said, it's December 11th. Let's see what happens. I don't think there's really anything more that I can say. I have some comments on the team structure, but I'm sure you're gonna prompt us on that, so I won't get into that quite yet.
Yeah, no, we'll get there for sure. Dan, raw emotion. Pete and Eddie are gone. How you feeling?
I mean, the writing was more on the wall for Pete. I mean, we kind of I fully understand Frank's point of view. Like this could have been like the 500 homer homegrown Met starts and finishes his career in one spot. But at the same time, you look at what went wrong last year. It's they have offense. We know they're going to score runs, but they could not prevent runs in any way. And I love Pete. I wanted him back for that amount of money. I don't think it would have been smart to do it. I think you can replace him at first base with a guy who maybe definitely won't give you the same kind of offensive production, but you can trust a lot more defensively. You can spread that money around, maybe go get another outfielder. I just think it's going to be a very different team. It's probably going to be a team that doesn't score as much, but I think end result, you still could find a way to get same result in terms of wins and losses. Diaz, on the other hand, that one caught me off guard. But at the end of the day, like he wanted to be a Dodger. What are you going to do? There's no GM in the world that could have told him we're better than the Dodgers right now. So, and especially with the report that came out today that the Dodgers weren't even the top bid either. So the fact that he jumped the gun to take not even his best offer, that's the easiest route to a ring. You get it from the player's point of view, but it sucks from this end.
The Pete move felt like they just didn't care what any of the fans thought, which is like obviously true. Like obviously true. Not that you should. Like that's not the way you
Mhm.
should run a thing. Like anything as a GM. The Eddie move felt like, and I don't know, and we'll never know all the details. But like if you frame it a certain way, like the Eddie move could be like an incompetent move on the Mets part. You know what I mean? Like there are signs there that the Mets, like I don't know, the rumor came out and the Mets were shocked, and I'm like, why are you shocked? Like why are you surprised? A better team reached out to him, offered him more money than you did at the moment. And it's like, yes, you hope he comes back and negotiates with you. But that I think that was what started the initial anger because I was like, you shouldn't be surprised by anything that happens. Like you should know that there was a chance that he was going to go to the Dodgers. And if you didn't think that the Dodgers were enticing at all, like that's not that to me is what is like a little bit worrisome. But again, he didn't come back to them, and we know that, so I'm not taking that away from them. But I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts. Go ahead.
No, but I think that's totally fair to blame Stearns. I could agree that to a level he probably failed the negotiation process with Edwin because the reports were kind of weird. It was like the Mets offered him the 66, but said there is a little wiggle room there to give you more. If they wanted their guy back, it would have been a 4 year deal. We'll give you 22, whatever it is per year. And yeah, that probably would have been overpay. But now you're seeing Devin Williams got 3 years. You're seeing today Robert Suarez got 3 years. So giving Edwin Diaz 4 years being the best closer in baseball doesn't feel like an overpay at this point. And I think they were playing games. I think they felt, and maybe that is Edwin's fault, or it's not Edwin's fault, but maybe Edwin told them like, throughout the whole process, like, guys, I'm going to come back. We'll get there. Let's just keep talking. And maybe they were legitimately shocked. But like I said, if they wanted the player bad enough, 4 year deal, Edwin's a Met, and we move on.
How old is Edwin Diaz right now?
31.
30,
So a 4 year
31.
deal would have lasted him to
Yeah.
35. I would not have 4 year $100 million deal for Edwin Diaz. I don't think I would have blinked. Honestly, like 25 is a lot, but again, he's the best closer in baseball, and now the best closer in baseball is a Dodger, which is a whole different problem. But you know what?
Mm.
I will love Pete forever. I don't have to love Eddie forever. Go
I'm
enjoy
I'm
the
I'm game with
Dodgers.
that.
Go enjoy the Dodgers. I'm not happy with him either. Like I said, I think the Mets bungled something up here. Like I think they messed something up here. But for him to not even come back after spending how many years with the franchise, I could be mad at both sides here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not making excuses for him.
Whoever's report it was, I can't remember the name, but someone said that he led Met people, maybe not like front office, but just like people in the organization, led them on to believe that he wanted to be back. So if that was the case and they told him it's like, all right, here's where we're at, like if you want to go see what your market is and then come back to us, if they have reason to believe that he wants to stay, like you can't really bid against yourself, but again, I
Oh,
guess
for sure,
you
but
kind of need to be ready for him to just say, I'm going to LA, like sayonara, I'm not talking to you anymore.
and you want to trust the guy. He's been in the organization for seven
Yeah.
years, but at the same time, if that was the case, they got played, and that's frustrating to see because they didn't want Pete Alonso. They wanted Edwin Diaz. With that being said, it's hard. It's hard. It's tough. Like it's easy for me to say, give him the 4th year, pony up an extra $2 million a year, whatever it might be. But if they truly felt the whole way, Edwin's coming back, we don't have to go crazy here, and then he just left one day to the Dodgers unannounced, then I don't know. Maybe they got played. Maybe he dragged them along. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, is there's no way for us to ever really know the behind the scenes.
It's
No, you're
also
good.
so weird that the way it came out, where it was like, yeah, the Mets told Edwin Diaz they have wiggle room. It's
Yeah.
like that's so that like I don't know. Everything about it was like very weird. And like I said, we'll never know the full story. So I'm not. I'm trying to put all this behind me. Truthfully, I'm trying to move on. I've written down some trades here, so I'm ready to get into what the future for the New York Mets holds because I saw the Pete tribute today and I threw my phone across the room. I was just like, I don't want any part of this right now.
Let's start off with replacing Edwin Diaz. I think that's a little bit easier than replacing Pete Alonso from a production standpoint. Robert Suarez, I thought made a ton of sense for this team. He, of course, signed with the Braves today, 3 year, $45 million deal. Did not think he'd get 3 years at age 35, but the Braves wanted the player. They got the player. A few other options that are kind of floating around right now. Trevor McGill of the Brewers, I think we would all love that. There's also Pete Fairbanks and some other lesser free agents like Sean Armstrong and Tyler Rogers. The options are starting to dwindle down a little bit. Guys are falling off the board. So I'd like to see the Mets get a little bit aggressive here and secure one solid late leverage reliever. Frank, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what the vision is right now. So it's really hard to like, okay, if you're going to be aggressive towards another reliever, then I would suspect that you have a lot planned, right? Because as it stands right now, and like you guys said, it's December 11th. So I'm not saying that this is what the season is going to be, but as it stands right now, the Mets have a roster that is a 70 to 75 win team right now, maybe 80, maybe. But like they're not a playoff team right now. They're not as good as some of the other teams in the NL. The NL is obviously pretty stacked. Are they going to bring in like significant amounts of players to get us there? And if I believe that, then yes, go out and get one of these guys. I'd love McGill back. But if not, then maybe don't. I don't like I know that sounds dumb, but like I don't want to be aggressive unless they think that they're going to have a team that's going to compete. And right now, I don't see a team on paper that's going to compete. I could be wrong. Like you said, there's a lot of time left.
I mean, the first name you mentioned being McGill, I think it's safe to say that's an easy one to be like, that should be the guy, especially like if you can tie that with the Freddie Peralta. Would love to see that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I said on one of these episodes that we did, would love Rogers back. Just a guy like that with a rubber arm who's always dependable and a ground ball pitcher with a better defense. I feel like that just makes a ton of sense for the Mets. Like you said, with the current state of the roster, I can't judge them too harshly in December, knowing that a lot more is going to happen. But you're right, a lot more does need to happen. If they're even sort of a semblance of what they are now going into opening day, then we're going to have a serious problem.
It's
But
just hard with the relievers because this feels like the last piece of the puzzle, not the first
mhm.
piece of the puzzle. But like you said, Mark, they're all going. So it's a really difficult spot to be in.
It's also a different way of attacking the team of the roster construction. I know, like, typically you look at relievers last, but with this rotation in place, a lot of these guys are 5 inning guys. So this is a theoretical way to make this team better, shorten the games. If you have Devin Williams, Trevor McGill, and just say Tyler Rogers, and you feel really good about the last 9 outs of a ball game, that helps out a lot.
Especially with the starting pitching being obviously after last year their biggest question mark. Like you hope to see the kids take leaps, but I mean, we know how baseball works. It's not a sure thing that your top prospects are going to come out of the gate being great, even with what we saw from McLean. Like, let's be real. There's probably going to be some regression there. So if you can get them in a spot where all you need is 5 innings, and then if somebody can get you the sixth, and then you have your three guys in the back end that are pretty reliable. Again, it's a different way to attack a game, but at the end of the day, wins and losses is all that matters. It doesn't matter how you got them or what your plan of attack is.
I do feel relatively confident they will get at least one high leverage reliever that we feel pretty good in. I don't know who that guy will be. Like I said, I think we all want McGill. He seems like the guy that we would trust the most of this group. But of course, that is a trade, and the Brewers have to agree to it. So it's a little bit harder than just signing a free
Mhm.
agent.
Do we know his contract situation off
I
the top of your?
believe it's this year and next. I think he's 2 more years of control.
Okay, that makes sense. But that's the thing with Milwaukee. We know when their guys are getting close to the end, that's kind of when they just cut bait and they take what they can get and then fill him in with the next guy that's suddenly like a 4 or 5 win player. That's just how they operate down there. In my opinion, I feel like that's their best avenue is go get combo Peralta and McGill, and you kind of kill two birds with one stone there.
Looking at first base now, possible Pete Alonso replacements. There's not a great surefire replacement. I've been on Wilson Contreras for a while now. I've said his name a lot. Dan, we'll start with you here. Who do you foresee? Who do you want to be the first baseman for the Mets?
I feel like I'm lacking creativity here, but I want it to be Wilson Contreras. I feel
It makes a
like
lot of sense.
it does. I mean, we know what kind of team David Stearns likes to build, and Frank, not to counterpoint to what you said before, but like he said, two baseball jobs. They've been with the Astros and the Brewers. Has that led to endless World Series? No, but other than the Dodgers, who has won more than those two teams in the last decade. So clearly he has a formula that's going to win you a lot of regular season games. What happens in the playoffs is always a guessing game, but we'll see. So a guy like that who can give you 20-ish home runs, 800 OPS while playing great defense. Again, the offensive numbers, they're not going to be Pete Alonso, but that could definitely help you win a lot of ball games.
How close is Ryan Clifford? I guess is really my
Probably
question.
close.
Probably the back
So
end of 26.
so
Might be in the middle.
this might just be a bad I'm okay with the rebuild now. I mean, like I'm not okay with it, but everything that I have thought of like how they can make this better is get younger, get they want to get more defensive, obviously, so I think that means getting more athletic. Get younger, get more athletic. I'd like to see Ryan Clifford break camp and be our first baseman, as dumb as that might sound.
I don't hate it. I mean, the power is he has real power. I mean, I know when you're losing a guy like Alonso who had also crazy power, it's not the same, but like I mean, he's coming off a 30 homer season in the minor leagues, Ryan Clifford is. Like it's and
I don't think he's breaking camp though.
neither do
No,
I.
probably
No,
not.
no. I
Probably not.
think
I'm just spitballing here because I can't say Wilson Contreras. The both of you have already said that. So
So I did jot down a few other options. The first guy is the most sexy, exciting name I want to say here, Munetaki Murakami. And
that's
so listen,
classic.
listen, listen. I know, but a few years ago, this guy hit 56 home runs in Japan. He was viewed as the Japanese Babe Ruth. He was viewed as Shohei Ohtani. He's had some lesser years. He's 26 years old with elite power. This is a guy that can see the Mets targeting. He might be a DH. He has red flags in his fielding. He has some strikeout problems, but he's young. He can get better. He's 26 years old. I think he might make a lot of sense as this team's DH going forward.
what was his strikeout rate last season? Wasn't his strikeout rate like ridiculously
It
bad?
was very high. No, no,
So
listen. It was. It's not.
I, and look. Okay, I just want to go on what you're saying right now, right? Like, yeah, sure, I'm open to it. You said he's young. I want to get younger. I want to get more athletic. Like, fits the bill. But, excuse me, foots the bill. That being said, we let Pete Alonso go because he was a bad defender who struck out a bunch, right? Like, those were his two flaws, right? So if we're gonna bring in a bad defender who strikes out more, then it's gonna get me even angrier that we didn't bring Pete Alonso back. And I know he's 5 years younger, right? Like that's the whole point. He's
Well,
not
if
gonna
he's
cost
the
as much as
DH,
Pete,
the whole
but
thing, my biggest beef with Pete was he was the worst defensive first baseman I've ever seen. I'd watch every single game, and like twice a game, he would make a horrific play.
do you think that this guy's gonna be a great defensive first baseman?
I think he's the DH. That's what I've said since I,
So
I
I mean,
dropped his
look,
name.
if you want him to be the DH, that's fine. But we're talking about first base, right?
So I'm talking about the
Mhm.
general overhaul of replacing Pete's power. So,
Okay,
Okay, you're
okay, I
saying
understand
replace
now.
him like
I
his overall
understand now.
value.
Okay.
well, looking around the diamond, like how are we gonna? Because we do need power. Like we're not gonna. And I'm team defense. I love this idea. Let's fix this team. But at the same time, we need some kind of home run production besides Wanso and Francisco Lindor. But say Murakami is a low average 30, 40 homer bat, batting fifth or sixth year lineup, DHing, 26 years old, could get better. And that maybe that's on like the good outcomes if he's I don't know what he is. No one really knows what he is, but he was raved about just a couple of years ago. And I have a hard time
Mhm.
believing he's suddenly a guy that you don't want to touch now at 26.
I don't
I
think
I
there's
definitely don't
any.
hate it. Not
Yeah.
necessarily where the Mets need to invest their money. Obviously, he's probably a higher ceiling, but I feel like his profile is a lot like Ryan Clifford, so it's almost kind of redundant.
I don't think there's any world where I definitely know to an unknown like that. So sure, let's give it a shot, right?
All right, a few more just kind of guys I jotted down here. We don't need to go on a whole elaboration. Just kind of both of you give me like a yes, no. Hey,
Hmm.
Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea.
He's probably like a 2 year deal, first base DH. He's a pretty bad fielder now, but will hit his home runs, will strike out a bunch, but could be a good guy to replace Pete's power. Christian Walker, he's on the Astros. He has 2 years left. Good fielder, 25-ish homer bat. How do we feel?
Does he still have that kind of power? I don't know what he finished last year in Houston with, but I know the start was rough.
He hit 238 with 27 home runs last year.
Got up to 27.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe.
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
these are all
I didn't
if
think he
these
played that
guys,
well last year. I feel like I didn't hear his name at all. So hearing those numbers, all
yeah.
right.
I mean, he
Yeah,
must have
sure.
finished well because I know he started very
Yeah, he
bad.
was stinking in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. These are both options that it's like if they go and sign like a big outfielder, sure, this guy can fill in too, but
I'm not buying any of these
yeah.
jerseys, but I don't think that's what the point is here, right?
Maybe a name and number t-shirt, but that's best case scenario.
I'll buy a Murakami jersey. Ryan O'Hearn.
Yes. Yeah, because this is exactly what Stearns wants, right? So just give him what he wants, right?
Ryan O'Hearn hits righties very well, Frank. He had an 800
Yeah.
OPS.
This is what he wants. This is how he wants to build the team. He's a good defender. Like, yeah, he's he's super inconsistent, which I think is something that we have to take into account here. But I think this is might be actually our best option of the ones said so far for first base.
I mean,
Dan
maybe I'm
hates
just thinking of
this.
them all as like what they do at first base, but I'm like, I think they'll want someone that can hold his own weight defensively. And I'm not sure if that's exactly where they
O'Hearn
would
is
go
good
with that.
defensively. O'Hearn is a good defensive first baseman. He doesn't have much power, so you're probably looking at like a 15 homer bat, but he hit righties really well and played good defense at first.
All right, sounds better than I thought.
I'm gonna propose this question and see how you guys feel about it. I don't think Cody Bellinger is a fit anymore, and I say that because I liked Cody Bellinger when he was the fourth best hitter on this team. Now, him being the third best hitter on this team, I know it's not drastically different, but I don't trust the bat. And I feel like Cody's going to get a big time contract here, and he might not hit very well. And I don't really like the idea of him replacing a big bat.
I feel like it goes back to what we were saying before that this is going to be a different style of Mets team. For what it's worth, I'm expecting, I don't want to say big years, but I'm expecting more from Beatty and Alvarez this year, like two guys that were top 10 prospects that we saw both of them take leaps down the stretch.
Yeah.
I think just those two guys being back, you'll get more production from them. Bellinger, again, it's hit or miss. It's not a safe, like he's not a lock to hit what you want from him. But the defense is going to be incredible no matter where you put him. So even though it might not be the perfect fit, I do still think he's a good fit.
I think it might be Brandon Nimmo with good
Like
defense.
you're just saying we're getting Brendan Nimmo back bat
I think
wise.
I think Brandon Nimmo's offense is a realistic outcome for Cody Bellinger in City Field.
I mean, if you had Nimmo's bat with Bellinger's defense, yeah, I'd give that guy a pretty good contract.
I just again I'm just going with the way it appears that Stearns wants to build the team. this is like the perfect guy for that. So that's why I can't sit here and consciously say no. Like that'd be a name we'd all be happy to rip away from the Yankees. Like, yeah, I'm in. I still want Cody Bellinger. Again, if they're committed to trying to compete this season, Steve Cohen said there's still plenty of time to put a playoff team available. Well, if you're gonna make a playoff team like out of what they already have right now, I don't see a lot of moves that they're making in the trade market to get this lineup to a playoff looking lineup. This is one of the moves that they could make to do that.
Kyle Tucker. Do we think there's any chance Kyle Tucker is a Met in 2026?
I'm gonna just say no. I'm just gonna say no. I don't think it works. I don't think they want him. Another lefty. I know Bellinger's a lefty, but it's a little bit different because of all the different positions he can play. I'm gonna say no. Kyle Tucker's not gonna be a Met. I'm like pretty confident.
I'm not gonna say no chance, but I'm gonna say low chance. I mean, has he ever played anywhere besides right field? Has he always been strictly a right fielder?
I know he played like a little bit of first base, which we can actually use, but he's really he's a corner outfielder.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can move him or Soto to left field, but realistically, it's okay of a fit. I just don't think they're going to be the team that ponies up and pays him. I feel like Toronto could be a team that ends up and just says, "Here, have whatever you want, just come play here." But
It feels like the Mets would only get truly involved with Tucker if his market really came down to like 6 years, then I can see it. I can see them going like, we'll give you 40 a year for like 6 years, but I don't think they want to give another 10-year deal out after Juan Soto. But yeah, no,
Sounds like the Mets don't want to do more than 3 years for anyone.
a lot of these free agents are very flawed, and it's a frustrating no, no,
yeah,
it's true. It's a frustrating combination of both things because on one end, you're not going to get any of these players if you're realistic and rational about this. On the other end, I don't disagree with the thought process. The last marquee free agent here. Any thoughts? Any consideration to Bregman at third, Beatty at first?
No, doesn't
No.
do anything. It
not
doesn't do anything for
necessarily.
me, and
No.
that's not nothing against Alec Bregman, who's a phenomenal player. But like, I just think that now you're band-aiding up what we've lost with Bregman. You're gonna move Beatty to first, which we don't really know if he can play. Hopefully he can, and then you're gonna have Bregman at third. And then what if Beatty stinks anyway? You know what I mean? Like, what if he's a good first baseman and he just stinks because we still don't really know with Beatty? And then you have Vientos in the mix somehow. It all feels so messy right now.
Mark Vientos became very important when Pete walked out the door.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
he's the
not a great
DH right
feeling.
now. Like
It's
he
not
is
a
our
great
DH
feeling,
right now.
but he could silence all the haters and really make things look a lot better if he was good at baseball.
Yeah, I think the Mets' path here is one outfielder and a lot of pitching. I think when it's all said and done, the Mets lineup is you're going to look at it and be like, oh, they're not going to score as many runs as they did last year, but they're going to be able to prevent a lot more runs than they did last year too.
Which that was the name of the game, run prevention. And Frank, what I do keep telling you, while I know you're very upset and frustrated throughout this process, and I do feel this wholeheartedly, if they're good next year, no one's going to care. Everyone's going to flock back to Citi Field. Everyone's going to be behind Stearns and Cohen, and that's how it works. It's going to be a different looking team.
I
But if
do
they're
believe
good,
that I do believe that people are going to be upset about Pete forever. I mean, like you hear the way like our father's generation talk about Darryl Strawberry, right? Like, can't believe they didn't sign Strawberry back. Like, we're going to talk about Pete like that, or I know I'm going to talk about Pete like that forever. You're right. If they wind up winning, it's going to sting a lot less, and it's just going to be a cost. It's just going to be a tale of, it would have been nice for him to finish his career out. If they don't wind up winning, there's going to be a lot of vitriol there. So we'll see.
no one will ever give Stearns his flowers about that situation. But if he's terrible in 2 years and he can't play the field, you're going to look really smart. And like I said, if that is the case, I'm not saying it's definitely going to be the case. People probably always hit home runs. But if it is the case, no one will ever look back and say, oh, wow, Stearns made a good call there.
Yeah, no, it's not it listen, he made that decision and he had to know up till the day he made that decision that no one was going to like it and that no one's ever going to like you said no one's ever going to acknowledge him for it. Pete could never play baseball again after like next year because he was so bad and no one's going to give him the time of day. You know what people are going to say? People are going to be saying he would still hit 40 home runs if he was on the Mets. Stearns ruined him. He broke him by not bringing him back here. So, you're right. It's a thankless job that he's in right now, but we'll thank him if he wins the World Series.
My closing thoughts about the situation. I have said it time and time again. I have faith in David Stearns, but he has put an immense amount of pressure on himself to get this right now because It would have been really easy, Frank, you said in the beginning, to just keep the guys around, bring back Pete, bring back Eddy, keep Nimmo, and just get a couple of pitchers. It would have been really easy to do that, put a band-aid on this thing, win 90 games next year, make the playoffs. He is full on building this team in his image. I think it's for the better. I truly do, but an immense amount of pressure on this man to perform now in New York. All right, last time of the show, Frank, you have something for us here. Give it to us.
Yes. What I hope to be in a episode by episode thing. We're going to start a new segment called Frank's Four Bags. And I'm going to give you guys scenarios. And just the explanation behind this is, listen, Mark and Dan are very logical baseball thinkers. They know the numbers, they know the stats, and I know that of the three of us, I am the one to tend to veer into my imagination a little bit more. So this is just a fun way for us to bridge the gap between what's realistic and maybe what's not realistic. Today's Frank's Four Bags is going to be how Mr. David Stearns can win back this franchise. Win back the fan base of this franchise. Because as you guys know, a lot of people are calling for his head here on December 11th, 2025. So the single, or the first one, would be take Cody Bellinger from the Yankees. Let's be honest. Us as Mets fans, we love one thing, and that's when the Yankee fan does not feel good about themselves. Now, you look at Edwin going to the Dodgers, a team that the Yankees possibly might have to face in the World Series. Pete is now in the division with them. Wouldn't it be a little extra special if we took Devin Williams and Cody Bellinger from them? Is it a smart baseball move? We already debated that. I won't get into that. But would the fans at least give him like a little bit of a grin? Like, all right, we took a guy away from the Yankees. Great. I hate doing it. I hate being that petty, but you know you feel better when that fan base doesn't feel good.
I generally don't try to think too much of it, but I mean, we all know we have some friends that it would be nice to rub it in their faces.
I'm at a point now where I'd prefer to not almost just because it's so annoying to listen to it. And listen, if Cody's great, that'd be awesome. And obviously, I don't count Soto in that ballpark. Soto's like one of the best players of all time, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have to listen every time Devin Williams blows a game this year. He could be 29 for
Mhm.
30 in saves. That 30th he blows, I'm gonna hear about it. So, like I said, I don't think Cody's a perfect offensive fit, but he would help the team on defense for sure.
We
Okay,
can we can give it back to him when Ahmed Rosario makes an error.
Sure.
fair enough.
Yeah. Or
All
Marcus
right.
Stroman gives up 5 runs in 5 innings. Like we can do this back and forth all day.
All right. The double. This one's simple. Get a young star bat. Okay? Nothing will turn this franchise more is if they somehow figure out a way to acquire a young star bat. I'm thinking someone 28 or younger in terms of young right now, just to kind of give you guys where we're at.
I was gonna ask you for an example. It's not Tatis.
Yeah, I can't. I can't give you one but
So
it's not my job. I'm not the GM, okay?
I think whoever they get, they're not going to get someone who's like a clear-cut star. I mean, I guess it depends on what your definition of star is.
Look, they
I think
have
they
Juan
can
Soto.
definitely,
Get
yeah.
me a two, right? Get me a second best guy in the lineup.
You're not gonna want to hear this, Frank,
Second
but I
guys is
think they're
Lindor.
hoping that's Carson Bench, that's Jet Williams, that's a guy that's in house right now.
And you know what? That's fine to add to this guy, whoever that they're acquiring.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, said a couple times today, like outfield is probably the direction they're gonna go. Call him a star, no, because it's all potential and hype of like if he can stay healthy. But like we've seen the top of what Luis Robert could be. We know they like him. If you get him and he gives you like something close to what his peak is, he's not a star right now. But if he does what he's done in the past, do that in New York, that would definitely help a lot. But again, that's so dangerous too because
If
he's made it
Luis
to the
Roberts a
last.
guy they bring in, then I need like two more real bats with him. Like that can't be a Luis Robert with Carson Bench and the kids running around. Like Luis Robert might be a 215 hitter.
I still think that's like Contreras, a good outfielder, and then pitching, I think, is the direction that they're gonna. I think their biggest splash will be a pitcher.
okay. And that's actually perfect because it leads us right into the triple. And that is acquiring Tariq Skubal. And I say acquire because I am not necessarily beating the drum for us to trade for him this season. But by the time he gets his huge contract, I would like for it to be the Mets to be the one to give him that contract.
This team needs to be in position when we break camp to win the World Series. Otherwise, trading for him makes no sense. But like you said, we can sign him next year. That's fine.
We don't have to make the trade for
Mhm.
him. We don't have to give up all the prospects. I wouldn't mind it. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't mind him being in the building with us for a year before heading to free agency. But we also know that that doesn't mean everything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So acquiring is the key word there.
So
He-
there was the report earlier today, like the middle of the day, that said apparently it's more likely now that they are going to trade him. And let's be real, you look at that situation, knowing that the Mets could throw a ton of money at him, who else will realistically be like, let's give up a big haul of prospects and go get him right now? Like, I do think the Mets do have the leverage of like saying, hey, we have these good prospects. McLean we're keeping, but we have a lot of good guys that we could give you, so you don't end up losing out. We know they're shopping David Peterson. If the Tigers want to stay relevant, that's another all-star lefty they can just fill right in for him. And like these lesser guys that maybe they're not like not a Carson Bench or Jet Williams, or like we've all seen like AJ Ewing being such like a huge name that's risen this year. Reimer too is another one. Like you can, and then let's say you throw in like one of Tong or Sproat. Like you could give them a pretty good haul that doesn't really hurt what you're doing this year. I mean, let's be real, for what Scooble is, like if you're the team that's getting Scooble, you're most likely the team that's winning the trade. I've said it a couple times tonight. I think they're gonna put together a team that when we look back in April, we're gonna be like, oh wow, why did we think this is a rebuild? I think it's gonna be a good team, and I think it's probably worth the price to go and give it a shot at least, if the Tigers are willing to listen.
the home run. This one's an easy one, guys. Steve Cohen gave us a 5-year window when he bought this team, and he said, I want to win a World Series in 5 years. Well, now, me and all my authority are giving Steve Cohen that same 5 years and David Stearns. Win a World Series in the next 5 seasons. The home run way for David Stearns to win back this fan base.
Hard to argue with that.
Sounds nice. I would sign
Yeah.
up for that.
They're going to build a defense team. We know what kind of team Stearns wants to build. Give him 5 years to like clearly they're starting over. Like Pete and Nimmo, like the two so-so defenders who just went out there and hit, they're gone. We know they're going to build this team in Stearns' image.
Stearns
I
also brought in a whole new coaching staff as well.
To my credit, I'd like a World Series next year, but I didn't say that because that's
Hmm.
unfair. He's obviously trying to rebuild the whole team. So I think that if you had him do everything that he just did this offseason or everything that's transpired the last few days, right? Not giving him the time to see it through would be the worst thing that they can now do, no matter how much I believe that maybe he's not the guy for the job, right? So let him do his thing, give him the time to do his thing, and let's evaluate again in 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and definitely again in 5 seasons, and go from there was the thought process.
All right, I think he's going to be here for a while. Like you said, we know how baseball works. There's no guaranteeing a World Series, despite what the Dodgers did the last couple of years. Like I guess if you sign a Shohei Ohtani along with every star Japanese player, I guess that guarantees you a World Series. But that's not viable for everybody. So you give me a team that you constantly believe can win a World Series, that's all you really can do, right?
All right, that's gonna do it for us. Hopefully, we come out with a video of a nice, exciting trade or free agent signing. I feel like one of these days to get that breaking news alert and something positive would really feel good right now for a Mets fan. But that's the video. Thanks for watching.